This is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Go!
You're watching Dr. Politics.
Good evening, everyone. It is Friday, September 22nd, and you're watching Dr. Politics and Political Architect Show. And it's been a busy week. Not such a good week if you're Joe Biden, frankly. The strike lingers on at UAW against Ford, GM, and Chrysler, or Stellantis, which I don't know why the hell they don't just become. They want to be known as Stellantis and not Chrysler. Right? And I'm not a fan of Chrysler myself, but
I didn't know about the Stellantis part. I'd always known him as Chrysler. I don't know when.
I know. I would not have known either, except for the fact that there's these YouTubers that do talk about cars. And they kept referring to Stellantis.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just saying that because you want to make yourself sound smart. You can just get say Dodge and Chrysler, But in the beginning, Chrysler was a railroad engineer working for General Motors.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, and the Dodge brothers were their own entity as well.
And Chevrolet was a race car driver.
Yes, and he was Swedish.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he was Swedish. You wouldn't think it, but yeah, Louis Chevrolet.
Yeah, a great name, Chevrolet, just rolls right off the tongue.
Yes, but yeah, now the unions are striking against them, and I don't know. I'm a little troubled when I see Republicans praising the unions, and the fact that they want to make the same amount of money as the CEOs, and they want a proportion. They want a 46%. They do. I'd be shocked to know if there's any linemen working for UAW making $18 an hour.
Yeah, right.
I thought I know a lot of them make well over 18, like in the 40s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's why the price of a car is so expensive, because
absolutely,
all the money we have to pay the unions.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's the thing
I think maybe they're just trying to also flex their muscle, because for so many decades, remember, they were sort of rightfully so kind of beaten down because we had competition from the Japanese in the 70s and 80s, and it got kind of tough. Mm-hmm. So now, after all these years of pent-up demand, maybe the unions are trying to flex their muscle and try to get as much as they can.
They've also got competition from Elon Musk and Tesla, as well as Polestar, which that's super expensive EV car. They're like the luxury brand. They're a stripped down model, like 100-some thousand. And then you've got, and you're not going to be out of a job, frankly, just because if GM stops making, which I hope they don't, frankly, stop making internal combustion engine cars, frankly, because of these EVs.
Yeah.
But you'll still be assembling them the same way. It's not like it may take fewer of you people to do that. But honestly, these unions. I love the fact that President Reagan came in and busted up that aircraft controllers union. Yeah, that was one of the happiest days in my life when he said, "Get back to work or you're fired."
There he is. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I really think a lot of these corporations, like I remember the NFL strike.
Yeah, I remember
the second one. The second one where they hired scabs.
Yep,
or as they call those scabs. The replacements,
Yeah, that was exciting. They made a movie based out of it, and the Redskins were doing great.
Yeah, and they couldn't get a the replacements couldn't get they couldn't get the license use the NFL team.
You know, the thing about that that was remarkable, in fact, I think one of the most remarkable things in sports, right up there with maybe the 80 Olympic hockey team, you remember the Redskins, all their players stayed out. Other players came back, but the Redskins stayed unified.
The Cowboys, I think the Cowboys, out of their players came back.
So think about it. In Texas Stadium, the Redskins with replacement players went to Dallas with most of their starters and beat them.
I want to say Tony Dorsett was still playing for the Cowboys at that time.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought that was amazing. Yeah.
And it's one of the, it's amazing that like General Motors is not saying get back to where you're fired,
Yeah.
Which is entirely possible. You could do that. General Motors.
But they may have an issue with replacement too. I mean, in terms of finding replacement workers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have when you're looking for skilled jobs, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is, so to speak. You've got.
But could you imagine the political implications? And this would change everything at the border. If they decided, well, we'll use the migrants that come up here, we'll put them on the assembly line. You imagine how the left would go nuts over that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look at this. They've gone nuts with the left, sending the illegals to the most compassionate people in the world, Upper East Side New York liberals.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, Mayor Adams is blaming MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump, and totally against logic. The Biden got rid of remain in Mexico, and then you had the floodgates open. Yep,
and it's Trump's fault. And the other thing is, the
wall.
Yeah, and the other thing is about New York. Apparently, they have laws, the shelter law, that I think they have by law. They've got to take people in somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it becomes very costly for New York when you got 100,000 people that are there. It's a sanctuary city, so their laws really help draw people in.
And one of the nicer hotels, the Milford Plaza in Manhattan, is now housing illegals.
Yeah, destroy the hotel. This is going to destroy the city. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know that they'll ever recover. They may, but it's really a tragedy.
It is, and excuse me. Again, I forgot about Coke again. Anyways, they would do that during the commercial break.
Well, but I'm not really crying for them. But I do think that for the rest of the country, I think it is a real shame that you've got all these folks coming in. Nowhere to go. It's going to cost a fortune to take care of them. And it could be solved by enforcing our laws, building the wall, pushing for remain in Mexico. Don't give them work permits. You're just going to get more people to come once they get work permits. Don't talk about amnesty. That's going to get more people to come. You're just drawing them in.
I think what we need to do is we need to start. We don't know who's coming in from the southern border, frankly.
Right.
We've got bad terrorists who are getting caught, bad terrorists that are getting through, that are, you probably have some Chinese agents, coming in through the southern border. I was talking to, like people who, it's like, let's just do a moratorium on. I think Pat Buchanan, when he says we should only be inviting folks that we need, so to speak. If we need engineers, we let engineers come in. We need doctors, we let doctors come in.
Yeah, Canada has a similar situation where they have certain points, and then they're looking for certain people, and you have certain requirements to meet. And I think that's good. I think
I had a friend in college who wanted to immigrate to Canada. I said in college, I had a friend of mine who wanted to immigrate to Canada.
Yeah.
Because he thought their healthcare system was the cat's meow, And
Look at
as I like to say, well, good luck getting any heart surgery. If
Mm.
you're over a certain age, they're just not going to bother scheduling you. Oh, the wait is 5 years, sir.
Yeah.
There
That's
was a funny Simpsons episode where Lisa decides to stay in Canada because of their
Yeah.
great healthcare and education system.
yeah. Well, that's another, and that may be a topic for a different show, but in terms of Canada, what's going on there with Trudeau? Apparently they're getting tired of him, I hear. I remember, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, when they crushed that protest of the truckers because they didn't want to have to go through all the COVID hoops.
That's right.
Apparently there's something in the Canadian Constitution, I think it's called Article 32, where they can suspend rights. A province or the federal government has the power to just suspend your basic rights, except for voting. They can't suspend that. But if they declare there's some sort of emergency, they've got great power. And so that's why they use that power against which is peaceful protest of the truckers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So hold on 1 second. Speaking of upstate New York, I gotta share this. This is funny.
Sorry, I'm drinking on camera.
Hey, no problem.
Popeyes has good iced tea. They do. I think McDonald's still has the best iced tea.
Okay, here we go.
Never that great. Upstate New York.
As one who's worked in the whole region of upstate New York, he's not so far off Mark, frankly.
Yeah, I've taken that way up to Canada when I went to Canada.
Like when I was Randall Terry's campaign manager, basically we were based out of Binghamton, but a lot of these, like Oswego and all these towns, were.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Upstate New York is pretty, though. I thought upstate New York was nice looking.
It is nice, actually. And that's also the reddest part of the state too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Utica well.
Okay. Remember Rochester? You've been to Rochester? I've been to Rochester.
I've been to Rochester, yeah. I entertained going to Rochester Institute of Technology, actually, at one point.
Sad what happened to Rochester when Kodak left. Remember, Kodak was one of their big things.
Yeah, well,
Kodak
what's funny is our... I think that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buffalo, the part of Buffalo I went to seemed nice. I think there's a part that was nice.
It's funny. You've met Mark Uncle. He's from Buffalo.
Okay,
yeah. I shared this with him when they first came out. I go, Mark, here's how much your host.
Well, I knew a guy from Buffalo as well. Really nice guy. And
Tom Jipping was from Buffalo, I think.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Yeah. I thought, I've driven through it. I never stayed, but it looked like a nice place. So I thought it was nice.
I mean, they got the Bills. They used to always go to the Super Bowl and lose back in the day.
Remember the Sabres, the hockey team, the Sabres?
Yes.
Remember them as a kid?
Yes. Mark's actually a Sabres fan.
I don't know what happened, though, in terms of Buffalo, in terms of the decline in the population. I know there were
Buffalo's really become like a bedroom community for Toronto.
Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah. But I don't know how that would work because it's still a different country, even though they're pretty close.
Yeah, I think there's people that I guess that go there to work, I guess.
Can you? Maybe you can.
Yeah, and all those senior citizens going to Canada to get their meds,
Oh, yeah, maybe so.
Nobody talks about the bus from Canada of senior citizens going to get health care in America because they gotta wait for it. Well, it's actually a funny Simpsons episode where they went to Canada also to get drugs.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing is, in the case of, remember with Buffalo and Toronto years ago, and it didn't last long, But the Buffalo Bills were, I guess, concerned about their potential shrinking market, and there was a proposal to play some games, and they did play some games, maybe just preseason games in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were trying to capture that market. So
yeah, I mean, Mark was telling me, like, they're all Blue Jays fans in Buffalo.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
I guess
aren't
so.
Mets or Yankees, no, we're Blue Jays fans,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, I mean, I think it's one thing that might be good if we can facilitate trade between the two, because that may be a way to help Buffalo and Toronto
Yeah.
to be helped by that. I will say this of Toronto, beautiful, an amazing city in that it was so modern and it was clean when I went. And I just thought of it was kind of heartbreaking when you think of a lot of American cities that are just sort of trashy. And I don't think people in Toronto would put up with where we seem to be willing to put up with on our streets of San Francisco.
I mean, if you remember, we've seen Washington, D.C. back when we were working for Free Congress, we were told don't get gas at that gas station.
Yeah, I remember that gas station.
Chris Toppins, that was the first thing that, if it's dark, don't stop for gas. Make sure you've got a quarter of a tank before, when you're here, because you don't want to stop there after dark.
I remember going up to Union Station, and but I was on the other side of the street, sort of. Union Station's over here, and I was still there, and there was a body. I mean, the police were there, and a guy was shot, killed.
Yeah. And now if you drive by, that's just high-end condos really become very nice.
That's interesting. Yeah.
The old Free Congress building's gone.
Oh, is it?
It's gone.
Oh, yes.
They put like condos there, I think, now.
Okay.
Just
is
like
Heritage still there? But Heritage is still there?
Heritage owns the entire block.
Oh,
remember,
wow.
They used to only be the center area. Then now they own the building on the side where the Armands was. They own they also, I think I want to say they might even own that gas station now.
You remember that sandwich shop we used to go to? They called the Dump. But it was a good sandwich shop.
Yes, it was.
It was good.
It
was actually very good.
I mean, Free Congress back in those days, obviously it was in a virtual food desert. You didn't have many options. Union Station, the eatery, didn't have many options there.
Yeah.
Let
me ask you about Free Congress. One question while I thought about it. Did you guys have your own tie? We had the NET tie.
Yes, we had there was a Free Congress tie. Yes. Jamie McDonald has that. Actually, Ken Mulligan, if you remember him, he actually has a Creeville Institute tie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
my NET tie might be around here somewhere.
Well, Hillsdale has their own tie. Hillsdale, and I have an Adam Smith tie, which I saw the other day.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch. I bought a whole bunch of them over the years.
Oh, good.
And they've gotten fancier and fancier and more expensive.
Well,
that's why nobody wears ties anymore, because they're so expensive.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was thinking of buying another tie, but I don't need. I got so many ties. But I saw this tie.
I have not worn a tie. Last time I wore a tie. Actually, the last time I wore a tie was actually not too long at a funeral. But before that, the last time I wore a tie is when I met Vice President Pence.
Yeah, I've been years without wearing a tie. I mean, nowadays so many people are casual and working from home. And actually, during COVID, I don't know if I ever wore a tie all that time.
I don't think I've worn a tie ever since, like, what do you call it? Unless there's like a big meeting I got to go to with government people, I won't wear a tie.
Yeah.
I'll wear a jacket, but I'm not going to put a tie on. But that's, there's government people I know, a lot of them that don't wear ties. A lot of programmers won't wear ties either.
Yeah, so many people are now casual. It's changed. When I was coming up, like whether you're at Leadership Institute when I was there or NET, you always had to have a dress.
Yeah, NET, they had a tie policy. NET, you had to have a tie.
Yeah.
It's like old Catholic schools where if you didn't have a tie, you got a paper tie made up.
You remember, and speaking of having to have a tie, remember Scott Huey, who used to work at America's Voice? I remember he complained to me once, and said, I got to wear a tie. They make me wear this thing.
I ran into Scott Huey's, Stephanos. He was one of the people.
I think I remember.
the board operators ran into him recently, and he's on Facebook too, I believe.
Okay.
But but there's a great transition I'm about to make, though. United States Senate got rid of their tie policy.
Yeah, that's what I know. It's
and
ridiculous.
Suit policy. You can look like this.
Wow. I just think that's
ridiculous. That's by the trains,
Yeah.
And look, his little lackey there doesn't even have a tie on, but you got to believe
There's
his intern or chief. I think he's got to be an intern, this kid. He's too young
I just can't believe that's anything other than embarrassing. I don't understand that at all. The guy's a U.S. senator. Think he can put on a suit, you put on a tie, and it's almost
here's the thing, it's the respect of the Capitol building.
Absolutely. It's almost, and it shows a great deal of disrespect, and it's almost like giving the middle finger to everybody. I'm going to wear.
He looks like a tourist. That's what tourists dress like.
Even a tourist would dress up better than that. And he's
I've seen some pretty bad dressed tourists in the summertime.
I just can't stand that. I just can't stand that.
It's like put a tie on, at least put a coat on.
Absolutely, it's totally disrespectful. It's uncivil. Yeah. It's basically like a big finger to every and your colleagues. You're basically standing out. You're a freshman. Yeah. You should blend. You shouldn't just try to stand out like that.
Yeah, I mean it's like it was high school. He might have been shoved in a locker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they would have said yeah.
And you got to find a locker that big.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like 6'8".
Yeah,
bigger than Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and I bet he doesn't run again. Or if they lose the Senate, I bet he resigns so the governor can appoint himself for that job.
Maybe. But there's just no way that's playing well. And I can't believe people in Pennsylvania don't look at that and cringe.
They probably do. Anything, it's basically people in Philadelphia, suburbs, in the Pittsburgh suburbs that put him over the top, frankly. Central Pennsylvania voted for the Republican. I think McCormick would have won that race. I mean, but Central Pennsylvania voted for Dr. Oz.
But that's another thing with Trump. He really did cost us the Senate. Mm-hmm. The first time was because you had the runoff in Georgia, and because he was claiming the election was stolen, and that you had the split in Georgia between him and Kemp. We lost those two Senate seats. We should have won them, or at least won one of them.
We could have won. Actually, in 2020, we should have won the special runoff for those two Senate seats in Georgia. Sonny Perdue should have held on and won that. But when you have the president going, your vote doesn't count or your vote doesn't matter.
Right.
That's what you get. Right. And we just have to play ball, so to speak.
Well, and also as you mentioned in the case of McCormick, we got. I didn't dislike Dr. Oz, but we lose that race.
Oh, I didn't dislike Dr. Oz, but I mean, McCormick was the better candidate, frankly. Yeah. And Dr. Oz was the carpetbagger. And
in the case of Georgia, going with Herschel Walker. I mean, I liked Herschel. I have nothing against him, but I'm sure
he was really good when he was a cowboy.
Huh?
He was really good when he was a cowboy.
Yeah, he was a great running. One of the greatest running backs I ever saw.
Yeah.
But as a Senate candidate,
he played for the USFL prior to that.
I do, and in fact, I saw him in Maryland. I saw him play for the New Jersey Generals against the Baltimore Stars in College Park.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, that's right. They did play at Bird Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
They weren't allowed to play at Memorial because that was also baseball season.
Yeah. So I saw Herschel Walker play, and great running back. I mean, just great. Mm-hmm. The best running backs I ever saw.
Yeah, and the Colts didn't have a special field or a football field or anything like that. That's why they left in the middle of the night. I know right now the talk is, the Orioles may move back to Tennessee because that's actually where they're from. I think Tennessee, they're from one of those states down there. But
the Orioles?
Yeah, somebody posted on Facebook. The Orioles are going to leave Baltimore if they don't get a new. I'm like, something. Well, I said, my response was, I hope they have the good sense to hire Mayflower Moving the van lines to move them to Tennessee if they go to Tennessee. Because it was done in the.
New stadium? Why they need a new stadium? Camden Yards is like the most popular stadium in the country. It's considered one of the nicest.
It's old. It's like, why do the Redskins need it? Why do the Redskins need a new stadium? They want FedEx Field is newer than FedEx Field is newer than Camden Yards.
It's an utter waste. Wrigley's old. They can tear down Wrigley. Fenway's old. Tear down Wrigley. I mean, it shouldn't be at the age that should matter. And so, in fact, in some
They
ways,
tore down Shea, but Shea was like rickety.
yeah, but that was a dump. Same thing with the old Yankee Stadium. It had become a dump.
And here's the thing.
And Tiger Stadium, they really couldn't save. I've been told they really couldn't save it. It was beautiful.
Over years ago, when I was when I was working for the British Embassy, Ministry of Defense. That was actually one of my first big customers, and they won. The guy there tells me, goes, Americans feel 100 years is a long time, and Brits feel 100 miles is a long way to go.
Yeah,
and that's about true. I mean, people think, oh, do you remember the anthrax scare of the post office?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The post office was built in 1985 or something. I was listening to some overnight radio show. It may have been Larry King back then. No, Larry King wasn't on then. There was some overnight, but this one goes, that building was built all the way back in 1985. Like, that is not that old of a building. People say, oh, that's a 10-year-old house. Well, 10 years old is not old for a house, frankly.
Oh, absolutely. Remember
the house? My house was built in 50 something.
Yeah. Well, remember they got rid of Turner Field, and that wasn't old at all. In Arlington for the Texas Rangers, they got rid of that stadium. That wasn't old either.
Yeah.
It just seems like a massive waste of money. I don't know how that's justifiable to tear down.
Buddy Cianci.
Huh?
Buddy Cianci used to be the mayor of Providence. He was a big, this is back when the Patriots were thinking of leaving Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying how he goes, trying to get a football team in this area, it's like kind of playing 3-card Monte, but you don't want to be the one that finds the P. As in, he was saying how football teams, you got to build it. They want a stadium. There's traffic. You got to change traffic patterns. He didn't want the Patriots to come to Rhode Island.
Mm.
But they got a new stadium too a few years ago. The Dolphins left Joe Robbie, and Joe Robbie opened up in, I think, 76, 78 in that time frame.
Yeah.
And it was in the 80s they got a new one, 80s or early 90s. It wasn't, so that was not that old of a stadium. When they left Joe Robbie for their new stadium, the new home, wherever the Dolphins play now.
Well, I think it's a shame, and it's unnecessary and a waste of money.
Yeah, and I think one is it's a clear waste of money. Okay, the fact is that there's no reason why we need to put up with this nonsense, frankly. If these people want to, I always say the Orioles, if the state decides, or if Peter Angelos decides to build a new stadium for the Orioles, let's build it over by BWI Airport, so it's easier for people from our side to get there, and it's a lot safer and no dodging of bullets there.
Yeah,
they could probably put the stadium in right over by Arundel Mills Mall. The mall is dying. Let's tear down the mall and put the new Orioles stadium there. There's actually another place they could build right around there in the Tacoma Heights, which I think would be great. Because they got the roads, they got the infrastructure already there.
But it just seems that it's not as if Camden Yards were ugly or anything. It's like the prettiest, considered nicest baseball park in baseball.
It is.
So to get rid of an architectural, I don't know, masterpiece, but a good looking ballpark, it just seems to me this can't be justified. Why am I getting rid of a nice looking ballpark? If it were a dump, well, maybe you'd have an argument. But if it's not a dump, it's a crying shame.
Yeah.
But I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they don't get rid of it.
I don't think so. The Orioles aren't going anywhere, especially if they go to the series this year,
Yeah, they're good, and they have a shot.
They do. They absolutely do.
They're a good team. Better than my Nats. The Nats are stinking.
Oh, the Nats are horrible. They're just the Expos when they moved, You didn't remember in the beginning? Yeah, but here's something for you. And this goes out, I'll dedicate this to Code Man who watches us. Oops. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah, I know. I've been there over the years. But that was just a tougher stadium to get to.
Yeah, that was the problem with it. I see why they got rid of it.
It was a lot farther into Baltimore. This one is right off 95.
Yeah.
Magical for real baseball when the game is close.
And there's a lot of us. I mean, there's a whole generation of kids who grew up in Maryland.
There's a thundering roar from
Never saw the Orioles
to give it all they got.
You remember the guy who used to stand on the dugout, Wild Bill Hagee?
Yeah.
Who's gonna
Yes.
give the call?
And it's funny, everyone around here were Orioles fans until the Nats came here.
That's right. Yeah. My
I
brother was a
remember
big one.
Orioles mascot came out to. There is a big thing. It's not even a minor league team, but they got a minor league type stadium. But
those are two greats. Yeah, we used to go when I was a kid. We would go to because we didn't have the Nats, we didn't have Major League Baseball, so the closest we'd have to go is to Baltimore. And I used to see. I remember the Earl Weaver days, the Cal Ripken, Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
Johnny
Oates. That was actually the last time they had a shot at going to the playoffs. Was Johnny Oates.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can see why they got rid of that stadium because, like you said, it was deeper into Baltimore. It's harder to get to. And Camden Yards is easy for the Northern Virginians and the people in the D.C. area to get to. But I enjoyed my time there. And I even saw a football game there. Before the Ravens got their stadium, they played at Memorial. And one year in the 90s, I got to see a Ravens game there. They played Miami. I saw Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
My seats were out in where center field is, and so it was it was actually not a good seat because when they got past the 50, it was hard to see what was going on.
Yeah, it's not because the stadium was booked for baseball.
Yeah,
and Baltimore actually had a hockey team called the Baltimore Clippers.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
and Ross Pierpont was part of Ross Pierpont and Ray Kroll were both part owners of that team.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
And Ross, as he put it, he would also be like because he's a physician by training.
Okay.
Like he sees a player get hurt, he'd actually go down for the owner's box. You're fine, you can go and play.
Yeah, and I remember, and you remember that time in the 80s, I guess, when that little small plane crashed into the stadium.
Yep, I do remember that. Stadium crashed in there, and basically, before the Nats, opening day was like a major holiday, frankly.
Yeah.
Like I remember the Orioles would play. I would always try to rush to get home early so I could catch the game, because back then, that was before cable TV, so you could only catch it on Channel 20.
Yeah.
Or Channel 2, which was the Baltimore NBC affiliate.
Yeah, I remember Channel 2.
To watch the Orioles games, And every now and then Channel 20 would not have the game, and you'd have to watch it on the Baltimore station. And it would not be, actually we had a decent antenna, so we got decent reception. Yeah,
but you're right. It wasn't great reception. And 2 was WMAR, right? It was WMAR.
Yep, WMAR, yeah. Yep. And I think they are now, they were actually, I would say that the Baltimore, those stations, like Channel 13 used to be an ABC affiliate. I don't know if they're back to being
13,
ABC. They used to be an ABC. Channel 11 used to be the NBC affiliate, and Channel 2 was the CBS affiliate.
Okay.
And then Channel 2 became the NBC affiliate. And Channel 11, I think, became the ABC affiliate, and Channel 13 became the NBC affiliate. And those Baltimore stations, I remember we were going to the McLaughlin group. They used to have a studio audience you'd go in and watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, we went there to go watch the game. I didn't watch the game. Watch the taping of the McLaughlin group, right?
Yeah.
What I thought was funny is that there's a guy from Baltimore that was with us on that trip.
Jack Tremont?
No. Yeah, well, he's from Baltimore. No, there was a friend, one of the college Republicans was from the Baltimore area, and he was like whining and complaining because it was also snowing a little bit. He was whining and complaining about how far away. He goes, in Baltimore, we have all the TV stations right around each other. I'm like, well, you're not in Baltimore anymore.
Yeah.
This is life in the big city.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's actually the crime has just gotten so much worse on metros and stuff like that.
Yeah. You mean in Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore, even in DC, it's gotten a lot worse.
Yeah.
Baltimore, they've got a light rail system in Baltimore right now. It goes from Timonium all the way to Reisterstown. Basically goes from nowhere to nowhere, as Councilman McIntyre used to say. And they put a methadone clinic after the light rail stop opened up right in Timonium, next to there's like the old line tea shop and a daycare center.
Oh wow!
Or was it a preschool? One or the other. Wow. And it was. He goes. The only people that use it are those people that are coming up to get their methadone fix from Baltimore City. And they get on the train. He goes. They don't pay because they have so many people that don't pay to get on the train, the light rail in Baltimore there.
Okay.
And now Governor Westmore wants to expand it, to basically build out more light rail that no one's going to ride in Baltimore. Frankly, if I lived in Baltimore or any of the suburbs, I would not want to take the train because Baltimore is such an unsafe place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like DC. I remember going to DC when I was in high school, under the Marion Barry days when it was the murder capital of the world, right?
Yeah.
But I never felt unsafe, like going to Metro Center, Farragut North, Capitol Hill, you name it,
Yeah.
But Baltimore, I could go down to the, go down to the aquarium and I don't feel safe there today.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Sal on YouTube. He has a Dead Mall series. And there's a mall right by, you think a mall right by the aquarium, you get a lot of tourists and, I mean, the restaurants are all shutting down in there. I think they might have one or two retailers still open, and it is it's another one of those dead malls. It's like dying. I think they shut it down. It's been shuttered now. It's evidently the same thing is happening in big cities. Like Philadelphia had one that it got shuttered, but there they actually did some creative stuff and brought back downtown shopping because Philadelphia actually used to be, I remember my dad and granddad saying, Philadelphia's a dump. It's always been a dump and it always will be a dump, And I was in Philadelphia back in 2013. It was not that bad. It was granted you stay, you don't go to the wrong part of town. I've got a nephew that went to Penn, and Penn has expanded to the other side of the river there.
Yeah, I stayed on campus at UPenn, and it was a little sketchy in certain areas.
Yeah, it was, but now it's gotten better. I mean, I remember when I went to go visit Temple University, and Temple's in a really sketchy neighborhood.
Yeah.
So is Drexel.
Yeah.
The safest school in the Philadelphia suburbs to go is Lehigh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I kind of liked Philly. I never lived there, but my visits have usually been pretty good.
I mean, I've gone over to the Liberty Bell. I remember when I was actually there for a Northeast Republican States convention,
Okay, good.
and I'm there, and I tell the guy, "How far is the Liberty Bell?" They go, "Oh yeah, we'll call you a car." Which I was like, "Oh, it must be pretty far." Yeah, the guy takes me the long way around, and I walk back from the Liberty Bell back to the hotel.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, "Hey, I was just here earlier at the Macy's because I forgot my jacket."
Yeah.
And I walked over to the Macy's to buy a new jacket, and I'm like, "Hey, I was just here. I didn't need to take a cab here. Spent $40 in a cab ride."
Yeah.
But the Liberty Bell is really awe-inspiring. Everybody should go see the Liberty Bell.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And I didn't have too long of a line to see it.
Yeah.
Hey, do they still do the Philadelphia Society? Or you ever heard of the Philadelphia Society?
Is that the one that Is that the one about the stealth ship that phased and when it came back they had sailors in the middle of? Oh, that's the Philadelphia Experiment, I think.
Well, I only say it because I thought there's a conservative sort of annual meeting that years ago. And they call it the Philadelphia Society or something like that. I don't remember, but I just thought of that.
Yeah.
But
in other news, by the way, check your milk cartons. I don't know how you can't find a F-35 fighter.
Oh yeah, I heard that thing.
Have they found? Have they found it yet? Because I don't think they found it yet. And it's $100 million loss.
Well, maybe we left that in Afghanistan. Maybe we left that in Afghanistan. Remember all the stuff we left behind?
Yeah, I know. That's sad. But it's like, how do you misplace? It's like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, where they go, where Kirk's like, don't forget where we parked. It's like you got a starship.
Yeah.
They parked it in Golden Gate Park. By the way, Golden Gate Park today is a war zone. It was very nice. I remember going to San Francisco years ago.
Yeah.
And a few times when I was a kid, going to LA. Those were nice cities.
Yeah.
LA was beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
You go down, you go down, but now it's a dump. The whole city is like South Central LA now.
Yeah, and I think of San Francisco. I was there, a beautiful city years ago, but I don't know that I want to see it today. I just think it'd be so sad with all the homeless encampments.
I know people who live in Sacramento who tell me they used to like to go to San Francisco for because it's like about an hour maybe away, and they go there. That got a family goes, yeah, we used to like go there for dinner, but now it's like, why bother?
Yeah.
It's like somebody once did a thing about the TV show Full House, and the neighborhood where the house was in, and they go the outside of the houses. They go, it is not picturesque as it once was.
Yeah, I remember that. Remember Too Close for Comfort?
Yes, that was that was San Francisco, right? No, they moved.
Yeah, they were outside in Sausalito.
Yeah,
but for me, in the case of Chicago, I've never been. My grandfather's from Chicago. I always want to go to Chicago. But I don't think I'd go now. Even though I had the opportunity, I don't think I'd want to go to Chicago.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago several times.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't. There are definitely no-go zones,
Yeah, and that'd be my problem. I don't think I'd want to go now, but it's just sad what they've done to the city. And you've got retailers moving out, and that would include, I think, grocery stores. And
Whole Foods has moved out. The local grocery chain there, and that sparked the mayor to have this brilliant idea. Hey, we should have a government-run food store, just like the Soviet Union.
Right. And so, in other words, it's not dealing with the root cause of the problem, which is the crime and the cultural decay. He just figures a government solution will take over. We'll start running grocery stores.
Yep.
And but even if they run it, will they still allow shoplifting or not? This time they won't allow shoplifting because
if you remember those old Soviet stores, shoplifting was never a problem because they never had anything on the shelves.
Maybe,
like a loaf of bread and a fish.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And Hunter Biden might be going to jail. He pled innocent this week.
Yeah. Is it a felony against him, or they're just misdemeanors?
It's, I believe it is a felony gun charge.
I think it is a felony. It should
be. But
they're
what if, Weiss is Obama appointed.
Yeah.
person that got reappointed by Trump. It's he's a Democrat. You know, it's all Weiss is Trump's boy. No, he's not. You know.
Yeah.
And
Well, the other thing about that is that the two senators from Delaware, both Democrats, signed off on him, and then
Yeah.
Trump said okay.
Yep. And it's like, why would you listen to? I believe that second senator was
Coons
Yeah.
and Castle, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Mike Castle's not in the Senate. He's a Republican, wasn't he? Or was he?
Oh, not Mike Castle. Then I'm thinking of another guy. I can see him.
I
now.
don't know. Let me check. It's easy enough to check. I could be wrong, but I thought Mike Castle was one of us. Because remember, he lost.
I remember a Castle that lost to the the witch lady or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
O'Donnell.
Yep. Different Michael. Yeah, he was the 69th governor of Delaware. He is 84 years young.
Okay.
And he was a congressman. It is not Mike Castle. You know, they had a really good conservative senator in Delaware for a long time. In Senator Roth.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, he was part of the Roth IRA.
Yeah. And they also had, I believe, in the DuPonts, you know, when
That's
they were
right.
in Delaware. You know,
Pete DuPont, one of the great governors, and he ran for president briefly in '88.
He ran for president. He would have been a great president.
Yeah, he was good. He was solid politically, as I remember. I was just a kid at the time, but I think he was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in '88, I liked Bob Dole.
Yeah.
I just had this uneasy feeling like George H.W. Bush, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's like the Bush 41, people are telling Bush 43, you need to get out of this war in Iraq. You need to get out of, you know. And I'm thinking, like, I hope George W. Bush just said, hey, Dad, how many terms did you have as president? I had 2. Well, how many did you have? Oh, 1. And I mean, George H.W. Bush was a much better president than his dad was, frankly.
Oh, you mean H.W. was better than W, or W better than H?
No, W was better. W was better than H.W.
Well, I don't know. I mean, W had a share of major problems, as I remember. Remember, W had the 2 terms.
But H.W. raised taxes after he said, read my lips, no new taxes.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me, while George W. Bush gave me a tax cut. He gave every American who paid taxes a tax cut.
Well, that's true. But in the case of H.W., you know, I think he was wise not to go on to Baghdad.
But that was not what do you call it? United Nations mandate.
Oh, yeah. But he was wise not to push that, to realize that you're just going to get into a major problem with the division of Iraq.
I think there were mistakes made, but I'll tell you this. I mean, President Bush did a fine job on the war on terror. It was Joe Biden that screwed up the war on terror, frankly. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush put together a coalition of the willing to expel Iraq and to liberate Iraq, right? Where's Joe Biden's great coalition to expel the Russians out of Ukraine? Not seeing it.
Yeah, well, I guess he's got, I guess the UN, at least the NATO, at least voices moral support.
Yeah. Yeah, moral support. Those are the people that cheer you on that, you know.
Yeah.
But we've got, I mean, and let me tell you, they're making significant inroads in, I mean, progress in the war in Ukraine, frankly. I know, what are we up to, day 578 or something like that? And, you know, it's like, and then we're doing these silly things like releasing five terrorists and $6 billion for 5 Americans, you know. Why are we not, and what I thought was funny is Joe Biden's administration, State Department, found it priority to make sure a transgender female basketball player who was in a Russian jail because she had illegal narcotics on her in Russia where they're illegal. They gave up a big fish spy for her. They could not have said, "Hey, release Evan as well."
Well, we left a Marine there, but remember the Obama deal with for Bo Bergdahl?
Yeah, a traitor. Yeah,
we gave up a number of terrorists, Al Qaeda people, and remember Bergdahl was a deserter. Remember he left his post and got caught.
Yeah, I mean, he was not, he was no model citizen, and it's funny. And Obama pardoned Chelsea Manning.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that actually what was his name before? Was it Bradley Manning before he was Chelsea Manning? So. Yeah. And why is the president commuting as spies? It's like, is he gonna? Would Barack Obama have pardoned the Rosenbergs?
Well, I might have, but for me, I don't understand why we keep giving money to Iran.
I don't either. It's like we did under Obama, and we got nothing out of that one. That was just part of that whole nuclear deal.
Yeah, they packed a plane full of cash.
Yeah, and what do you call it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, with Menendez.
Yeah,
that guy's a crook. Apparently, they had hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash stuffed in his safe and in suit pockets.
Yeah, that's kind of like Jack Johnson used to be the county executive in Prince George's County.
Yeah,
he was doing that. He was flushing the money down the toilet when we got tipped off that they were coming.
Well, remember the congressman from Louisiana,
William Jefferson,
and he had the money in the freezer.
And they took the National Guard truck to his house so he could go get the money out of the safe.
Well, okay, I don't know that, but
it looked like the old G.I. Joe APC, the multi-purpose vehicle. Actually, it was a troop transport, is what it was.
No, okay.
One thing is the price of gas are up again.
Yeah.
It's over $4 in Montgomery County in many places.
Well, when I was speaking in Howard County to the Republican group, I did get gas afterwards, and it wasn't bad. I found a decent. I forgot what I paid, but it wasn't.
Did
that
you get
bad.
at that station right at 40?
Yeah,
right at 40 and 29. There's a couple of gas stations that are reasonable right around there.
Yeah, that may have been where I was. Yeah, and it wasn't bad. I forgot the price I paid, but I could.
Hey, so how'd you like that merge coming in from the left side over there?
What was that?
How'd you like that merge when you're coming down, when you're going back, right?
Yeah,
and going to taking 29 south.
Yeah.
How'd you like that merge? It's like 2 lanes in, so you got to jump over.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it.
It's not so bad at the time of day you were doing it, but I tell you, during rush hour, it's kind of hairy.
Yeah, I think the worst traffic I've been through in this area is probably when you go 495 and you cross into Maryland and you approach 270. That's the worst I've seen traffic, and it's always bad.
Yeah, it is. It's also bad the other way. If you go up the spur, up Old Georgetown Road, your mom's old stomping grounds,
Yeah.
It's bad there too. And they put bike lanes in there.
I saw those. Yeah.
And it's pretty much, part of the new iPhone is out.
Mm. Are you going to get it?
I've already ordered it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got the 15 Pro Max, but that I'm not going to, because I didn't get it. Because it was released. I probably so if I had done that, I'd probably have it sometime next week. But it's going to be in October now.
All right. Well, how much does that set you back? How expensive is it?
Oh, I just did it's like it's about $1,400.
All right.
But I mean, can you believe they used to give away phones for cell service?
Yeah.
Like I used to have a Sprint flip phone that took colored pictures. That was like the greatest thing,
Yeah.
Then there was also this other phone that had TV, where you could watch TV on your phone, and the guy at the store goes, yeah, they charge a lot for the bandwidth for bringing in the signal.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get that phone because even if you accidentally did, they're going to charge you. It already starts downloading the data.
Yeah.
And now I can watch YouTube all day long on here.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's all in all, it's good. But also happened this past week is we got a Republican debate next week.
Yeah. And Trump won't be there, right?
Trump is still the leader of the pack. Yeah, he's going to go. I think he's doing something in Michigan.
No. I don't know.
He's doing a rally with UAW strikers. He might be doing something with them.
I don't trust. I mean, I don't know. I still don't totally trust the guy, even as a conservative. I think he did a lot of good as president, but
well, I don't. Okay, yes, I think the biggest problem, is his mouth, frankly.
Yeah.
If he had been like Calvin Coolidge, Silent Donald, if he had been the Silent Don, he would have cruised into re-election.
Yeah.
He would have won re-election. Right now would be coordinating Vice President Pence.
Yeah.
By the way, Lorraine Boebert, this basically she vapes in theaters. Evidently, she got kicked out of the theater for vaping.
Who was this?
Representative Lorraine Boebert. She was actually the speaker at 2 Lincoln Day dinners I went to, one in Frederick County and one in Brevard County, Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And basically, if I tell you there's a town in Kansas, would you expect them to crown a man that was born a man as a homecoming queen? Because he identifies. Kansas is not, the MDGOP ED is from Kansas, and come on, Adam, this shouldn't be happening in Kansas.
Yeah.
I
agree. You can imagine that like in New York or in Hollywood or in LA but not Kansas. You're right.
Montgomery County,
or in Loudoun County, Virginia, or
Fairfax County.
Yeah.
Loudoun used to be the conservative county. Loudoun, Prince William,
absolutely,
were Republican counties.
Yeah,
Fairfax was purple.
Yeah, I remember this.
Arlington already flipped blue by that point, but a lot of people forget that Alexandria and Arlington were represented by Stan Paris, Republican, for a very long time.
Yeah, and Frank Wolf when I was a kid, they had a Republican.
Oh, Frank had Arlington too.
Yeah, he started in Arlington, and then they moved him out. District 1.
You guys have a great candidate. Are you in Drainesville yourself? Right?
I'm in Drainesville. Yeah, I'm in Drainesville.
Yeah, you should support my friend Puneet, who's running for.
Well, I know him. Yeah, I know.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, I've been to one of his events at least. So yeah, no, he's good.
Yeah, if he does an event, let me know. If I'd like to come out and support him.
Yeah, help out Puneet. He's good. And then remember, we've got a couple big Senate races here, state Senate races that'll determine the control of the state Senate. We got one Pablo Segura out in Loudoun, and Bill Wolf out in Prince William. So we need to pick up both those.
I think folks like Congresswoman from that she beat Barbara Comstock. She may be depending on how. There's a lot of factors in play, but she may not win re-election if the Republicans have a good night. Frankly.
What was that?
What's her name? I'm trying to think of her name. Wexton.
Yeah, but she's not going to run again.
Oh, did she announce? Oh, that's right. She did announce that, didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, she's dealing with a health issue, so she's not going to run again.
That does put the district in play.
Yeah, it probably is. It's tough, but we could win it with a good candidate.
Yeah, if Barbara was still a Republican, I'd want her to run for it, but she's not a Republican anymore.
Yeah, she left in a huff, I guess, because of Trump.
I would say even is Bobby Kilmer still a Republican? Because I know she supported Terry.
Probably not, and I hate to say that. I hope she's still with us. I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years.
Yeah, no. I know she supported what do you call it, Terry McAuliffe, when he ran against Ken Cuccinelli.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's,
she did a fundraiser for Terry at her house.
yeah, it's too bad. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
I know you may be mad or upset with the party, but Terry McAuliffe's no good.
No, Terry McAuliffe is not the, you know. And anyways, it's 8:00, so it's time for final thoughts. Go take it away, Dave.
Well, I'd like to thank again the Howard County Republican Women's and Republican Club for having me up to speak earlier this week. A great group of people, and I had a great time. I sold a number of books, and so I look forward to coming back to Maryland at another time. And otherwise, just keeping busy and enjoying or looking forward to the fall coming, the fall weather coming up. And otherwise, yeah, just doing well. And that's sort of my final thought, really. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, my final thoughts is we are roughly about 20 some days away from our great tribute to our salute to Governor Bob Ehrlich. Governor Ehrlich was the 60th governor of the state of Maryland. There's 19 days, less than 20 days. You got 19 days, 17 hours, and 58 minutes and 46 seconds to. Yeah, but tickets are cheap. Come on out. It's going to be a great event at the BWI Hilton. Let's say thank you, Governor Ehrlich, for all the things you've done to build the Republican Party. How even after you left office, you didn't have to, but you did. You supported candidates up and down the ticket all over the state for the last 20 years. Actually, 20 years and more, actually, because when he was a congressman, he was also very supportive of Republican candidates. He'd come out and do stuff, and he took the old Helen Bentley seat.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know if you ever met Helen Bentley.
Yeah, basically, yes.
She was a tough old bird.
Yeah,
but the most memorable Helen Bentley memory is when she was on the floor. This is when we were having the Serbian War.
Yeah,
Bill Clinton's Serbian War.
yeah.
She goes, I stand with my Serbian brother Slobodan Milosevic.
Yeah.
Oh, Helen, we miss you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, you get to see a lot of luminaries from all over that are coming out to this event we're doing for Governor Ehrlich. Ellen Sauerbrey will be there. I think the entire Republican delegation from Annapolis is going to be there as well.
Wow, that'd be big.
And we're going to have Republican councilmen from all over. So it's going to be a good event. So yeah, so come on out, buy your tickets. Go to mdgop.org to buy your tickets today, and they're going fast. That's it for my final thoughts. We'll see everyone next week. Good night, everyone.
Right.
Good night.